today. They're going to go for a whole bunch downfield. It's tipped and oh! Puts it up.
Long man.
Oh, with a huge defensive.
Oh my goodness! Did he get that? Did he get that? Amazing!
Kawaoka. Riley Minor shagging an incredible deep.
Last time these two teams met, it was the 2013 Eastern Conference Finals, and tonight, the 1-0 DC Current will get their chance for revenge as the 1-0 Boston Whitecaps are in town here in Washington, D.C. for Week 2 of the 2014 MLU season. It's the Boston Whitecaps at the DC Current here at Cardinal Stadium on the campus of Catholic University in Washington, D.C. Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Poster alongside Tony Leonardo for what has been anticipated, a very highly exciting game that we should have in store tonight. Both teams, pretty anticipated matchup here, both looking good, coming out of their first week with victories apiece, and someone's going home with a loss tonight.
Well, you know, we hoped this in the first game when we saw New York visit Boston, and we thought this would be a good matchup. And we're hoping for the same here. We got a motivated DC team. They were a little embarrassed last year by their way they bowed out of the run in the playoffs. And, yeah, exactly as you said, they're hoping for a little bit of revenge here against Boston, catching them at home for DC.
Boston making the long trek down this morning. They spent a lot of time on that bus, making it all the way down here to D.C.
How many hours was that?
Just about 8 hours in total with one quick pit stop. I was there myself. Big anticipated matchup and a pretty nice night here at Cardinal Stadium. A little overcast. We'll expect the lights to come on a little bit later as game time temperature 71 degrees, 10-mile-per-hour wind, 29% humidity, no precipitation chance listed at the moment, so cross your fingers, knock on wood that stays that way. But good night here for Ultimate. A little breezy down there. Both of us threw a little bit. Test the conditions. I think
it's great.
I think it's a good night.
This is a kind of a new turf field here. Good texture, good fast track is what I like to say that. So if you get horses out there, they can really run. This is the surface they're going to want. This is the day. It's perfect. You can't get any better than that for Ultimate. 60, 65 degrees. You saw 70, but it's going to drop down as the temperature goes down, as the sun drops down. And about as nice as you can get. So looking forward to some good action.
Well, last season, D.C. was actually one of the few teams that took Boston nearly to the brink. Their first matchup was a 20-19. Well, not here, but in our nation's capital here in D.C. It was at their old stadium. But it was a 20-19 win for Boston. That's as close as really anyone got last season. So with a revamped roster here for D.C. this season, and the big name on that revamped roster is former Boston player and O-line cutter Peter Pryl. We'll have a big implication on that one.
Well, let's look at it right now. Here's our players to watch. Peter Pryl, let's start with him. Last game against the Spinners, 12 completions, 12 throws, but he scores 4 goals and throws 2 goals. He is unstoppable. Sam Rosenthal, coach of the Boston, told me he cannot be contained in a way. He gets his feet. They're going to throw 3 defenders at him, so we're going to watch that. Rebholz was not in action last week for Boston. The Whitecaps, number 4, big body, a big forehand hooker from the University of Wisconsin, national championship winner. This guy's going to put it deep. Everybody on both sides knows it. It's whether it's going to be caught or not, whether the D.C. defenders can get up in the air with the Boston receivers.
Well, as we noticed, you see both teams coming out on the field here. Boston in what was their home light blue jerseys last weekend with the navy blue trim. D.C. in their home black with the black tops, white bottoms, silver lining. D.C. has a lot more players out there than Boston. Boston a little short-handed tonight.
Well, they are missing Robin Myers, Piers McDonough, now with the broken clavicle. We saw that last week. Teddy Brower-Jarris, first game he's missed in the 13-0 run that Boston has done. Yeah. A big player for them. He's one of their pullers, and he's a big defensive presence, a big body. Rusty Ingold-Smith, handler on the D-line, out. Jeremy Nixon, out. Alex Cooper, out. There's a lot of people not here for Boston. Will that be a factor?
Yeah, we'll see if Boston will have their legs with the shorthand roster. Let's talk a little bit about the keys to the game tonight. Boston, one of them, they sat on a bus for a while, so will they have the legs here tonight?
Well, 8.5 hours, you said it. I heard DC talk about this last year when they went up to Boston. It's not fun. It's not easy. It's I-95. It sucks. Koral Kolik's stats last year are great. Or last game, 43 throws, 43 completions. That's perfect. 5 goals he threw. He threw 5 goals. This lefty is quick. Beat Boston. Well, that's a simple one. They haven't lost. Stick with the plan.
If it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Not broke, don't fix it. Washington, D.C. keys the game. Tempt Malachek. Well, this is a double-edged sword here. They want Malachek to throw it deep. Well, good luck. He could hurt you. Put Pryle to work. Pryle is going to go to work. However, every defender on him knows him. They've been playing with him for 4 or 5 years now.
Boston,
no joke.
Boston wants to prove they don't need Peter anymore. A little bit. I mean,
yeah. Sure, yeah. Late game coaching. I like this a lot. If you're going to beat Boston, it's going to be a tight game. Can Kevin Moldenhauer get this team focused at the end of the game to pull this victory out?
Well, that's an interesting thing. We talked to Kevin Moldenhauer before the game. It's a switch for him last year being a player coach on the field. This year, taking a step back, completely on the sidelines. He said he's a little more focused on the game at hand. He doesn't have to think so much about what he needs to do personally on the field. So I think that'll play a factor in tonight as well.
Oh, most definitely. It helps so much to not have to focus on 2 things at once. So I think we're seeing here is a council member doing a disc throw.
So we'll get the tip coming up, and
that was it.
The coin flip right there, and we'll take a quick break. Again, coming back, it's the perfect 1-0 Boston Whitecaps, but it's the perfect 1-0 DC Current. Don't go away. First poll coming up in just a bit. And a beautiful rendition of our national anthem right there. And just as we're getting ready to throw it down to the side, Nick Darling, MLU's own Nick Darling, going to be our sideline reporter here tonight. So he gets set up down there.
This guy gets around. He was in Portland last weekend calling the game.
He's just a jack of all trades, right?
Now he's down here.
He's going to interview, head coach Kevin Moldenhauer. All right, thanks, Nick. Great stuff there with head coach Kevin Moldenhauer. Of course, Coach Moldenhauer with his assistant Will Smolinski. On the other side, Sam Rosenthal, Tom Matthews, and Mike Miller, for Boston. Both teams coming in with a perfect 1-0 record and a chance to, in the early goings here, be on top of the East, which is always important. Boston with a 22-14 win over New York. We were both on hand for that one last week. In D.C., not the prettiest game against Philadelphia last week, but coming out all the same with a 21-18 win. And that one, and we mentioned
that was a pretty ugly game. What I watched.
Well, I was gonna, I'm trying to be a little easygoing here. If you want to dig into that.
Moldenhauer told me yesterday. He said in the Philly game, DC scored on their O-line 63% of the time. That is a stat he doesn't like. That's a stat we don't like. That's an awful stat. That's a very low stat. Passes were dropped, point blocked, travel turnovers. So one key thing for these guys, DC here, is that they can't have that low number on their offensive line. Their offensive line is going to have to hold serve much better than 63% in order for them to get in this game.
That was the big problem for New York against Boston last week. Their O-line couldn't score while Boston's D-line went to town against New York. So we'll see if they can do that all the same here this week. Take a look quickly at our referees here tonight. Head ref Eric Clarkson, followed along with Clarkson will be Jacob Nuxel, Steve Kreider, Lorenzo Lalimarmo. Up here in the booth doing the clock will be Shu Chatapate and Bradley Tinney. Enforcing the rules here tonight, a couple new rules this season. I didn't see, at least on our end in the game Boston, New York. That's the big one, the Callahan new rule where basically the same effect as it is as a safety in football for those new to Ultimate.
Well, I mean, listen, we needed more score variations, and there's
exactly.
a great opportunity for it. So you catch the disc in the end zone when you're on the defense in the opposing team's end zone when they're trying to advance the disc the other direction. You will get that disc that'll count as a score for your team, and you will get the pull. So that's a chance for a 2-point play. In other words, you stay on offense.
Yeah, a little more price to pay for making an error of that magnitude, really.
We did not see one. A little windy last week. That's a great opportunity to win when you can hook it downfield pretty good on a pull and use that the D to get down there and force them up into the wind. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see some this year. Who knows?
Well, DC's line is set and ready for pull. As Boston's O-line coming out, they will receive and move right to left on your screen. DC, again in their home black, will move left to right. As we get set here in week 2 to kick things off.
Well, this is a good O-line. Now, we do know that their D-line is missing some players. That's where they're going to be hurting Boston. But this is a pretty good O-line here. And like they did last week against New York, they came out, they threw about 10, 12 passes, scored, kind of make it look easy, confident, and just really set the tone. So here they are, the opportunity to do the same thing again. And DC, let's see how this defense is going to stand up. They got a lot of blocks against Philly. Their stats were crazy low with the completion percentage, but it also means that this D team was getting turnovers. So if they can keep on getting turnovers and convert a little bit more, we're going to have a game on our hands. Excited to see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And defense is a big name of the game, especially against the offensive power that Boston has had so far. I mean, it's obviously still very early, and this is a good chance, especially with both Philly and New York obviously losing last week, for one of these two teams to put their foothold at the top of the Eastern Conference standings. A much more beefed up Eastern Conference this season as compared to last year.
Well, we'll see about that.
Supposedly, yes. on paper, we have heard it is a beefed up. That's right. Well, as we get set for the first pull here tonight, and it is away. It'll land and roll briefly, stopped by Graham, and Rebels picks it up. Malachek now in control, moves it to the near side. Graham now faking, big backhand hook, gets it over to Taylor. Taylor finds Marquette. Cricket with an impressive game last week, couple of goals, couple of assists. Back to Taylor. DC so far, man-to-man defense. Trying a straight-up mark here on Taylor as Boston swings it around. Graham now with some time. Malachek with the leaping grab. Nice catch there by Marquette.
Scoobers over the top of Foster.
Yeah. Graham now on the far side.
Nice fake.
Fakes a big throw, nearly bought by his defender. Instead, keeps swinging around. Rebels has it now. Can't find Clark. It looks like that's what he was looking for, but instead swing it back to Malachek. Malachek with plenty of room. They're daring him right here.
Yeah, well, I don't know why.
Not quite in there. Marquette just in front of the goal line. Taking his time and finds a cutting Taylor in for the score. And Boston on top early with a 1-0 lead.
Cricket to Frogger there. Well, you know, that's what you see with Boston. Those guys are wide open. Every swing was open. Every dump cut was open. Even the cuts under. Graham, in the very beginning of this possession, missed Danny Clark for 40 yards up the sideline, and it didn't even matter. They swung it to the other side of the field. It looked like DC was a little bit slow. I only saw one player come up on that. That was Duke. Boylan Colchin had a play up on Foster. Other than that, easy cheesy, 1-0.
Yeah, they definitely give Boston a lot of room to work there. Check it out here again.
Malachek, Marquette, holds it in place here. Fakes the scuba, looking for something. And easy, dishes it right up the line. Not up the line, across the middle of the field, but a straight shot.
Christian Foster, no relation to Jim Foster, pulling here for Boston. Sends it down deep.
Well, here's what we've been waiting for. They revamped their offense here. Moldenhauer likes this new offense. They have a live side cut that's going to stay over there, and they're looking for a lot of spacing, but they expect not to have any poachers. Here's the main guy, number 99, Kolick.
Kolick and Schaffner here. Schaffner in control, gets it right back to Kolick. Kolick loves those short throws, and then you see him take off right away. Swing it over to Pryle. Pryle first look against Boston and completes his pass. Now going to get a chance here for a diving. That's number 45. Jeff Wodach is in for the score. Getting on the highlight reel early is Wodach.
And Tom Doy with the nice throw. Looked like it might hit the ground early, but kept up in the air nice. And that was a pretty good little move right there. Well, so far I like it. The offense looked pretty crisp. They moved it down the sideline. Not a lot of throws. 9 throws, 8 throws into the goal. 1-1.
Yeah, you got to try and keep Boston's defense on their toes. And Jeff Wodach with a nice cut there. He had no one behind him. Able to just look down the field.
You know, I really like Kolick out there with his craftiness. He moves so quick with that disc.
Oh, he's great.
He's got a nice release point. He kind of reminds me of Marquette almost in a way. A little bit taller and a lefty release, but just the way he get that disc off just about anywhere across the field.
Take a look at this one again.
There's Pryle. It's a little bit of an inside-out throw, actually. And there's Doy. And nicely done.
See Wodach really working to catch up for that one. Back to our linebacker, Brian Marshall out of Germantown, Maryland with the pull.
A lot of folks from the DC Current are from around the area here, which makes sense.
Homegrown talent.
Yeah.
Now Boston going for it big right here. Graham trying to catch up this one. He lays out, makes a grab. Now with time. Looking for Clark. And he's got him. Delrico Johnson, the only one even close to Clark. He gave him some room, not something you want to do against Danny out there.
Well, that's the room you want to give. That's fine. It's the far end of the end zone.
Right.
He's going to throw that throw. It's a risky throw. He has to throw over. Graham has to throw over Delrico. But he does. He puts it in this, he released that right away. Like he just knew. He's played with Clark for a long time now.
Of course,
so
yeah.
Surprise. What does surprise me is Rebholt's able to get that open jack. Look at that. There's nobody on him. There's nobody on Graham. So he just puts it to space. Jeff has to make a nice play here, Graham, but that's
what he does. He's quick on his feet.
Office, So Rebholt's right there. Backhand. Boom. Drops the hammer.
John Hirschberger, defensive line puller.
That's a big thing for you, huh?
Hirschberger. It's a fun name to say,
So he is going to be key for Boston's D-line here. If they do get a turn, they might look for him to be able to put it deep. He's one of their D-line huckers.
Especially with some of the D-line handlers out tonight.
That's right. So they told me before the game they might look to huck it.
Well, Kolick and Schaffner, again, set up to be your handlers here. Boston coming in straight man-to-man. Pryle in control. Dumps it back to Kolick. Terry Roth out on him. They give it right back to Pryle. Farnsworth coming out early for that mark. That's one that we heard. As Kolick's going to send one deep.
Uh-oh.
This one's going to float, yeah. Leaping up and making the grab from the back of the pile is Calvin Ong. And Ong now not in Just has to find some room, and Peter Pryle with his first score of the game. Nice grab. Start that one off from Ong.
Wow, I love it. 3 DC Current players could go to that disc. Only one Whitecap there. It hung up a little bit from Kolick, but they were there to get that. That's another thing Moldenhauer told me before the game. He told me that if they get some of those 50-50 discs, they have a chance to win this game. They don't want to get just – if Boston get 80% of these discs is what they told me. If DC could just get 50% of these 50-50 discs, they feel like they got a
feel
shot.
in good shape. Well, so far so good. They've had a couple of nice plays, both same direction going down the field. And Kolick, beautiful throw.
It hung up a little bit there.
It did.
Coming out of the handle position.
Right.
He's a big body, though. He's listed here at 6 foot. He goes and collects it up there nicely.
And take a look again. You see a couple of guys. Wodach in there. Ong obviously making the grab. And Keegan, the other DC player.
It's over Sean Doherty there, who didn't really have much of a chance. He's got 3 current. Let's see if Boston can hold serve. So far, no turnovers.
Yeah, that's true. Perfect game so far.
Unique.
Marquette with the catch there from Malachek. Trying to beat the mark from Matt Gordon. Gets it to Graham. Graham now being forced to the forehand side. DC forcing away right now. They get it over to Graham, cutting under, swings it over to Taylor. Swing it back to the near side now. Now Marquette giving a little room. Here comes the mark. Taylor, ooh, nice sky grab there by Danny Clark. And trying to get it to they call it in. Jim Foster with the layout. Couldn't really tell if he had held on to it from this angle. Is back to our side, but nice layout there from Jim Foster.
Heck of a bid from DC there. Really made Clark work for that. He did manage to stick that, but that was an opportunity there for DC, and they played it very well.
Danny's just got such long arms. He can just reach up there and grab it.
Yeah. And that's what he did there. Kind of waited for a spot there. But that was on if the DC defender was able to get that one. I'd love to see on replay who that might have been with a nice bid there. Might have been Boylan Colchin, but we'll see. Well, still on serve. We've got 5 points in the game and no turnovers.
Offense, offense, offense.
Offense all the time. Offense wins games. Defense wins championships.
That's right.
A little too early for that. For the 13-0 Boston Whitecaps.
We have transitioned away from that. They're 1-0. That's a nice pull there again from Christian Foster. And Kolick will get things going one more time. See already.
Very nice setup here.
Grabowski was making a deep downfield cut. And there's our first turn. Terry Roth causing some havoc on defense.
Yeah, a little bit behind the receiver.
Alex Simmons to pick this one up. Foster with the catch. And looking out for McDonald. This one's going to float. He's going to have some room tiptoeing the line, and he's out of bounds.
Ooh, close. Very close. It looked like for a moment he got his foot down there, but his other foot must have touched first, or it would have been on the line. Very close. Again, they look to say, oh, the wind is blowing toward us right now. Might have affected that disc.
Yeah, knocked my papers over here in the booth. Yeah, McDonald, you could see he tried to stretch that one leg out, but just that's a tough play. DC will take over. Kolick now swinging it over to Ong. Pryle. Montgomery Butler looked like trying. No, that's Jack Hatchett drawing the matchup this time.
Hatchett, one of Boston's best defenders, now on Pryle.
Tom Doy gets it back to Peter.
Oh, Doy went long, but
forcing them home side.
Pryle played it safe. Kolick might not play it safe.
A little dump to Kolick. It's right back to his man Johnston.
Cody Johnston, one of the main handlers.
Back to Pryle on the near sideline. Kolick gets the dump.
Pryle just up yards.
Yeah, Pryle and Kolick. A little two-man offense going right now. And now Peter in a little bit of trouble. Dumps it back to Ong. Kolick again. And we got a foul.
That foul.
Yeah.
Classic. School ultimate there. Otherwise, it would have been a travel. Risky to do that these days. If the ref wasn't there to make that call, it could have been a travel on Kolick.
That was Montgomery Butler that time. And getting it in for the score to number 32, Eddie Peters out of Doylestown.
Got shaken up last game against the Spinners, but made a name for himself there. Made a bunch of plays, scored a bunch of points. Good to see him back out here. And, well, there it is. We get the one turn on a behind pass, and Boston's D is unable to convert. They're missing their guys, and DC works at the length of the field down. A lot of Kolick, a lot of Peter Pryl, and they get it in.
Yeah, good patience there from DC, working it up this near sideline. Boston forcing him home.
If I do see any weak, Eddie Peters had 3 goals, 2 assists last week.
Nice game.
If there's any weakness I see is that they really stayed in this quadrant of the field, Jeff.
Yep.
I didn't see them really get out to the side, and it's a little dangerous. You get a defender from Boston looking to poach in there, and it could be trouble. So the Boston juggernaut on O, which is continuing, is here. Rebholz with the disc.
There's Rebholz, as you said. Trying to beat the foot block attempts. Nice grab there by Zid. Finds Graham. Graham spinning, trying to get it over to Malachek. Malachek with room again. Well, one of the keys was to tempt him, and it seems like they might be.
They really clear out of the zone really well, Boston does. And then they bring in new guys. And everyone's kind of, rotational. Look at this, Malachek.
Nice grab by Taylor, trying to get it to Malachek, and lands it perfectly in for the in-stride Malachek in for a score.
Well, this is a great example where they're rotating everyone like an egg beater. Malachek, you don't normally see him go into the end zone like
that.
But everyone's rotating around. So when it gets jammed up like that, Delrico Johnson had a nice D. He was playing on Danny Clark. Shuts him down. Here's a nice throw from Frogger. Malachek, no problem in the back of the end zone there.
Somewhat of a role reversal for Malachek, but with the deepness of Boston's goal line, it's almost unnoticeable.
I mean, that's the key to a really successful offense is every player can
Yep.
go long. You can't have somebody just hang back all the time.
Well, that was one of the things I heard in an interview last season as Boston was doing their tryouts. Obviously, myself being a Boston guy coming up from there, I heard an interview that Jeff Graham did when he talked about one of the reasons he loved Ultimate was that every player has to play the quarterback position. As we try and reach out to a greater audience here, it's a fun way to think about it. That it takes that much more skill for each individual player.
It's 100% true as well.
Boston with the pull. Here's Schaffner getting it over to, Kolick getting it now over to Schaffner. DC again working up this near sideline. Pryl trying to thread the sideline and a laying out grab there for the score. DC is trying to milk the highlight reel and a couple of layouts already.
Same spot we saw the throw to.
Paul Grabowski.
Oh my goodness!
What a couple days he's had. You want to tell us about it?
I'll tell you. Paul Grabowski shows up today. They wouldn't show he was going to show up. He had a child, Benedict Robert, born yesterday at 11 a.m. So this, unbelievable. He must be still really excited.
Paul Grabowski probably running on adrenaline right now.
That one's for Benedict.
That's right.
That's for my son.
So big congratulations there to Paul and his newborn son. And he gets to someday be like,
I'm so glad that happened.
Yeah, me too.
I'm really psyched.
Here's what your dad did the day you were born.
I was like, I don't know if you can play. I was like, how much did you sleep? He's like, well, not a lot.
Hey, he's got to be feeling it now.
Now get home and change that.
That's right. Well, Boston's offense will look to respond here. We're still tied 4-4. It's, as we said, all offense, only the one turn, and Boston wasn't able to capitalize.
Let's see if this affects Boston because that was a spectacular play.
Rebels looking for Clark downfield. Clark reaching up for it. Mistimed his jump, it looked like a little bit, and it flows out of bounds behind him.
Fantastic D from Ben Fleming, I believe, the young kid. They tell me he's an athletic guy, might not have the greatest throws. He gets Clark up in the air early. He went up big early, forced Clark to go up, a little body contact, not call. I think that's fine to not call that. Turnover right away, and this could be a big turnover event for DC. They got the chance now to take the lead and to break.
So we'll get our first look at the DC D-line here, trying to work some offense. Eric Salmi controlling. That's Eric Miner
Well, they look a little discombobulated, I would say.
Not used to it, at least in this one.
Oh, there's a big
There's
jack
a huck
for a
here.
man.
Marquette trying to get him for the D. Can't catch up to Brent Bellinger, who reels it in. And now DC will reset. Bellinger, Scuba there over to Minor. And Minor gets it in for the score.
Eric Astro Minor throws the goal. Well, a little shaky to start there, but DC gets it.
Yeah, they calmed down. It looks like that was Bobby Gordon. Bobby Gordon, I believe he told me, twin brother of Matt Gordon.
That's right, yeah.
Bobby
From,
Gordon.
University of Maryland, College Park. Well, this is a great sign of things for DC. They used the momentum from that amazing catch by Grabowski. They got the D that they wanted when Ben Fleming went up, and they converted. Everything you want to see happen. Coach Kevin's got to be very excited right now, and they're right where they want it. How much time is left? This is 2:25. This quarter is unbelievable. It's 5-4.
Well, definitely see it again here. DC picking up some momentum.
Eric Minor was on this team last year. Most of these guys are on this team. This is a returning veteran squad here.
Yeah,
DC.
unlike the matchup we saw last week with New York at Boston, New York, with pretty much a huge overturn on the roster. Both teams here today, largely the same returning players. So Boston's O-line will stay out there and try and get this one back. Trailing now for the first time. Rebels gets it over to Graham.
First time in the season.
Soon we get a whistle.
Could be a turnover. Could be a travel call on the thrower. That's a
foul. They called a foul. So it'll go back to Graham.
Okay, now it looks like Boston's resetting somewhere. Rebels just ran away from everybody. Foul on Graham. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Well. And now get another whistle right away.
I think it's a timeout for Coach Kevin Moldenhauer at DC.
I think there's some confusion on the field right now.
They're going to sort it out here.
You can see that as a referee is gathering here. Kevin Moldenhauer, we got a shot of him right now.
Coach M. Also, he's been a high school basketball coach for 10 years. You know what? It's time to do a read right now real quick. You saw him right there. He's wearing a hat. Breakmark is an official merchandiser of the MLU. Providing gear for all MLU officials. There they are right there. Check it out. The hats. And producing the official headwear of the league. Breakmark produces high-quality custom ultimate gear for high school, college, and club teams. Look for them at breakmark.com for all your ultimate apparel needs. Breakmark's been around for a good amount of years. Good to see them out here. 10, 12 years. They're from Boston, actually.
Yep.
Nice to see them up at the Buddha Fields there in Devens for years.
The Devens Fields.
Sam Rosenthal talking down here now at the bottom of your screen to the refs, trying to figure out what's going on.
So
are we?
What I believe it's going to end up being a foul on DC because you see Malachek bringing
I think he's going to run it in. Oh, no, he gave it up.
Well, I was giving it back to the ref.
He's going to make it take it. Wow, looks like a turnover.
Well, if it's an offensive foul, it results in a turnover. That was one of the new rule changes this season. An offensive foul is a turnover, so they must have called.
So why did it go back to Graham to begin with? Well, that must have been an offensive foul downfield. Yeah. Ooh.
Well, DC's D-line again will get another chance for a break as Graham gets the catch D. Now here's Brescher, and he's going to try and get it right back to Graham, who never missed a step after his last catch, and he reels that one in for the score. A little spike there from Jeff.
Wow. Well, Chip Cobb got a little too excited with everything right there. Tries to jack it downfield. That's the third time they've tried to put it into the short field here. And this time a defender right in the way. That was Jeff that went up and got that?
Yeah, you can see he's very fired up as he goes back. I think maybe a little frustration after that missed call or
this is why Boston
argument.
Wins games. There's a foul on Graham. It's a turnover. DC gets the disc. He goes right back there and gets the turnover and then catches the score by just schooling his man.
Yeah, he caught the interception and just dumped it back and took off. Never looked back. He's got a man on a mission. Take a look at this one again.
Brescher, one of the guys that is going to put it deep. Told me before the game, Mike Miller told me that he is one of their guys that's got the green light on D to send it deep, and that was a pretty nice put there.
Yeah, Freddie Sy out of Edison, New Jersey, had the tough task of trying to keep up with Graham. And Jeff able to reel that one in. 5-5 here. Minute and a half left to go in the first quarter. Foster with a big turnaround pull. And it's going to be reeled in by Schaffner. It's taking a while to let it fall.
Dump it back. I want to see a Callahan attempt.
Well, Kolek wanted it. Schaffner shook him off. Instead, moves it up. And now Kolek has it. Montgomery Butler trying to beat him. See, there's Kolek taking off right there after that throw. And
Nice.
a little confusion there. Kolek thought he might get it. Instead, it's Eddie Peters. Now Pryle. Pryle trying to find some room. Schaffner wanted it. Kolek now. Nearly double teams.
Faked a righty. Wodach.
Long. Back to Kolek. Kolek.
Oh, I love that.
Nice throw. A nice catch there.
Eddie Peters, I think, went up.
Yeah, it is. Eddie Peters again. Second score of the game for Peters.
The young buck out of the Peters family. His older brother Alex, of course. A couple of Philly guys. Okay, well, they held serve there. So the break still holds. They had a chance for 2 breaks, but I think they'll be pretty happy with one. And they got 42 seconds left on the clock. This is interesting. This is a key moment here. There's 40 seconds left. Does Boston try to score and leave no time on the clock? Do they
milk it?
Do they milk it? Do they fail to score? Do they leave the door open for DC? Do they turn it over? So these end of quarters can get pretty interesting.
In any sport, you always want to close out a quarter, period, half, whatever strong as you take another look at this put from Kolek.
That quick release is so nice. Close on that one, but
Montgomery
nice
Butler. Outstretched hand just wasn't enough. A bit of a lower pull that time. Jake Taylor reels it in. Rebels.
Short field.
First MLU action for Matt Rebels. Jim Foster now. Finds Marquette. Marquette looked like he wanted to get a forehand huck. Instead, Scuba over to Malachek. Malachek.
22 seconds left on the clock. 20.
Looks like Boston
they're milking it.
Taking it down. Rebels now. They're going to have to make a move soon.
10 seconds.
Malachek trying to find somebody.
Realize the clock is. They're going to have to put it up soon. Rebels just saw the clock.
This is it. Rebels looks at the clock. Cricket not in yet. He's got a chance, and he gets it to Graham.
Whoa.
Just as time expires.
Whoa, that was close.
That was very close.
That was really close.
Very, very
love
close.
To look at that on replay. I'm looking at the clock, and I think he got it off, but it might have been one of those NBA moments, and it's like less than a second.
As long as the disc is in the air.
Sure, yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Wow, well, what a – that'll take the wind out of your sails right there. DC plays great defense. They got him where they want. They got so little time left, and there he just gets it off on time. The referees call him in, and there's your final score of the quarter.
Yes, 6-6 as we head into the second quarter. We'll take a quick break and come back. Second quarter action coming up in just a bit. Don't go anywhere. Hi, everybody. Welcome back here, Cardinal Stadium on the campus of Catholic University in Washington, D.C. Jeff Poster alongside Tony Leonardo. As we get set for the second quarter to start here, Boston Whitecaps at the D.C. Kern. We are all tied at 6. And, Tony, you said it yourself. That's might have been the best quarter of Ultimate you ever seen.
It's the best quarter of Ultimate I've ever seen. A lot of Ultimate is divided into halves.
Well, yes.
But that was great.
If you're talking about quarters.
We saw 2 turnovers, I think, maybe 3.
I think you're right.
Just some great plays. Grabowski's grab was amazing.
That was great.
I hope that gets nominated for the Friction Glove Catch of the Week. I think we're going to see some first quarter highlights. If they get those up, we'll take a look at those. But really nice here. The crowd's filling in pretty well.
Still trickling
here.
in.
Yeah.
Nice night here, right about 70 degrees, a little breezy. Wind is.
Stands are about 3/4 fill, I'm going to say. Still not as much as it was in Columbia.
So here's some of the first quarter highlights right here.
Oh, come on now, son. Wodach. Let's see that. Let's see that same
was
position on the field for Grabowski.
Their first score of the game right there. Here's another. This is the big huck to Graham.
Rebel starting off his MLU career. We're going to get ready for the game action here pretty soon.
Another shot of the.
Calvin Ong. Boom. Calvin Ong is going to go climb the ladder on this one.
Big sky.
Following the disc. Way to trail that garbage.
Crashing into his own
Here's
teammates.
Peter Stowe to Grabowski. We're going to end on this. Grabowski, yes!
The new dad. So Boston will pull and move left to right again here as we start the second quarter. 6-6 again. This score tied, and it's been all offense. DC did have
well, they
one
haven't
break.
corralled Kolick or Peter Pryle yet, so Boston's defense is definitely a step behind.
Kolick just got that pass off to Wodach. Wodach wants it. Instead they'll go quick underthrow to Pryle. Dumps it back to Kolick. Takes off right again. Here's Ong. Ong wanting to go deep. That's Wodach. Or is that? That's Schaffner. And Doherty able to play some good defense there and just knock it away out the back just for safety assurance.
I really like that throw from Ong. It just caught up a little bit in the wind. He got it over the defender, and that's what you want to do. And I think Schaffner could have done a little bit better job boxing out and just playing that, playing the back line there a little bit better. Not a bad look. Hung up a little bit. Well, let's see what Boston can do in offense.
So take a look. First time Hirschberger is going to handle here on defense.
Remember,
and
he's got the green light
got
to
the
do
huck.
just that.
Farnsworth.
Pryle
Guarded
on
by
it.
Pryle. Who's going to get there? And Pryle gets up against the much bigger Lee Farnsworth, knocks it away. And
Well, this is a veteran just showing a new kid what's up.
Farnsworth is one of the key players we had to watch as he's drawn that defensive matchup against Pryle. Farnsworth, take a look again right there. Pryle, what a tip right there.
Farnsworth gets up big, but he hasn't played a guy like Pryle. He's been playing a lot of mixed, and that's
Yep.
welcome to the big leagues.
Farnsworth on the mixed wild card team. Will be headed to Italy this summer. Nice grab there and gets over in the hands of Pryle.
Referee did not take the bait on looking for the foul call.
Kolick now. Terry Roth picking up the matchup against Kolick.
This team needs a timeout here. They look a lot of sorts.
And Farnsworth trying to get right back against Pryle, and they're going to call him for the foul.
Yeah, that's a good call. He went up a little bit late there. Kind of karate chop Peter. It's kind of like, he didn't need to necessarily do that.
Right. I think he's just trying to get it back after that last one.
Yeah.
So 10-yard penalty there against the foul on Farnsworth. They'll move it up again a little bit here for DC. Ong now going to go deep again.
He's going to hang that one again.
This one,
now.
yeah. Pryle waiting for it. Farnsworth again trying, and a big crash there. And
well, they really
can't
listen.
tell
Coach
who
said
that
don't get
is.
those garbage this, but 2 DC players down now. This sucks. Hope they're all right.
Trying to see exactly who that is. It's a big collision.
Might be Dulabon. Well, this is the risk you take when you hang him up there.
Schaffner is one of them. He's up now.
Schaffner goes big for that disc. Wow.
Made the
He came
catch,
flying
too.
up there. Again, out of the handle position. Looks like there's going to be a timeout on the field here.
Yeah, injury timeout as players taken off the field. Schaffner.
Well, just got the wind knocked out of him a little bit there. Great
and
grab.
Tom Doy, the other man down here for
Takes
DC.
out 2/3 of your handling core.
Well, they both are at least walking off the field on their own power, so that's a good sign.
Doy will head over to the trainer.
Let's see if we can.
Schaffner, he's high five on the sideline, so I think he's going to be all right. It's a big opportunity again. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Kolick goes down with the left hand. Nearly had to scoop it like a first baseman in baseball. Scoops it up and does the layout. I think just for good measure.
Snow cone.
What a play.
The trailing edge catch. So Schaffner goes down and just cleans that off. Kolick goes down and just takes that off the turf. Nice play, Kolick. Way to collect on that. Things looked a little out of sorts.
Put there. Keegan with the throw. You can see he's excited because he knows Kolick's got that chance.
I think he just wanted to lead Kolick into the end zone.
Yeah.
If Kolick didn't lay out, he might not have been in for the goal. And Keegan wants to pad the stats a little bit.
Such a nice layout, too, going down with that left hand and then kicking his feet out from under him. Takes talent to make a move like that, and Kolick is no short of talent.
Another William and Mary guy. Kolick, Cody Johnson, one of the handlers also, and Will Smolinski coached them in high school at Yorktown HB here in Arlington. So
go back a ways.
Well, maybe not that long.
Well, still.
Yeah.
Got the experience.
7 years ago, but it's great to see that these guys have connected again on this DC current team. Smolinski, key coach on the sidelines for DC.
There's Graham on the far side trying to get Clark. He's got his man beat by a mile. And Danny Clark beating Dulabon downfield for a score. Tie it back up here at 7. Back and forth we go.
Graham is a machine. I just don't understand what to do with this guy. You can't guard him. You give him the unders, and he's putting up these like perfect, pretty hucks on the forehand side. On D, he just snags it out of the air, and we all know what a big receiver he is. So it's like, well, what do you do?
It's a jack of all trades. How do you stop Jeff Graham? That's been the question on every defensive mind that plays against him.
Like, he's a big receiver. It's fine. Let him throw. And then he just kills you on the throws. I'm like, he's not known as a defender. He just jumps a mile up in the air just to snag one out and score the goal.
The grasshopper, they call him. Appropriate nickname.
Yeah.
Well, here's Christian Foster.
I think I've told this story before, but playing against him on the beach, he wore shoes.
Who does that?
Yeah, he did, and he got even more leapage, and it was unfair.
Sean Keegan with the disc. First time we've said his name tonight. Pryle.
Everywhere. Said his name plenty.
That's right.
Well, pretty tight rotation here from Moldenhauer. We're seeing the same old guys out here.
Not willing to go too far into that bench, it seems, and now we're going to get another foul against Boston.
Schaffner is back out there, number 90.
Good to see.
Yep. And I believe Doy is not there.
Peters controlling. Gets it over to Keegan. Nice layout there in the hands of Grabowski. Well, Pryle had a bid there, but I don't think it was the defense necessarily that stopped him on that one. Just couldn't grab it.
On him. He looked like Pryle went, instead of going for the pancake catch,
tried to one-handed with that right hand, the Axeman, Jack Hatchett. Here's Montgomery Butler. Boston's D-line still looking for their first score.
Well, this is their chance to get. Oh, what a block!
Nice move there.
Bellinger gets it back.
Eddie Peters. So DC's O-line showing some defense, and now Pryle will find Kolick in for the score.
Oh, the crowd is psyched. That was a great turn of events there for DC. Eddie Peters reads it, gets the perfect layout. Unbelievable way to stop that flow. Any flow that Boston might have tried to establish with his D-line, and they're not looking good right now.
Just said Boston's D-line still trying to find that momentum. They are missing a couple of guys. Might be playing an effect here.
I didn't think I would see it, but it's having an effect for sure. Not having Cooper out there, not having Rusty and Goldsmith, real pro.
Broward Jarris, take a look again.
Broward Jarris really knows what he's doing. And there is McDonald getting baited by Eddie Peters. He faded back. Look at McDonald. He drifts back, and there's Kolick collecting the goal. Kolick already 2 goals on catching 2 goals. Last week he just threw for 5. So
that's
he's
usually what he does.
Yeah.
Talked about Malachek getting one earlier. He had that kind of role reversal.
So
and now it's
DC's in
Kolick.
the driver's seat here.
They really are.
They could convert another on D. They'll be up 2 breaks, which is going to be pretty nice to have.
So 8-7 the score. As you just said, 5:54 left to go in the first half. Boston playing from behind is something they're not entirely familiar with. Rebels gets it to Taylor. Marquette with the leaping grab. Scuba from him over to Graham. Let's see what Jeff wants to do this time. A couple little shimmies there to try and fake out his defender. Taylor trying to gets the backhand back to Graham. Right back to Taylor.
Oh, they're waiting for the
20-yard throw there in Marquette. Marquette found his spot, and he found his spot going for Danny Clark. Clark reaches up and can't reel it in with the right hand.
Well, that's twice Ben Fleming has gotten Danny Clark.
Nice defense right there as currently in control.
The young Fleming,
David,
given the assignment of matching the veteran Danny Clark so far, has shown that he's worth it. Risky hammer.
And
Marquette gets it back there by getting up quick on Eric Miner.
Eric Miner, the intended target, and the risk did not pay off. Rebels trying to feed it into Marquette. And nice defensive mood.
Is that Miner getting it back?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Tough to tell from this far
No,
away.
it's not Miner. Miner's over here.
David Cranston.
Cranston is one of their big defenders. Great to hear his name called. Timeout call here. Smart call from Coach Kevin Moldenhauer as DC looks to take advantage. 4:47 left in the half. DC up 8-7.
Yeah, big opportunity here for DC. Reel yourselves in. Maybe get that. They're going to put that offensive line back out there. As I just mentioned, 8-7, 4:47 left to go, and we'll take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. DC might be ready to stun the world. Welcome back. 8-7 the score. DC in control and on top by 1. 4:31 left to go here on the scoreboard clock. This is 4:47 on the clock that you're watching. DC will get their offensive line back out there after the timeout. Boston getting their defense. Kolick starting things off. Gets it in the hands of Grabowski.
Whoa.
Sending it deep.
Wide open.
I believe that's
stay in bounds.
Wodach, can he reel it in? Tiptoes the line in for the score.
Ooh.
And DC goes up 9-7. What a play there.
What a play call. Not just a play, but what a play call.
That's right. Come out of a timeout just like that.
Out and just uses the full length of the field. Really nice setup there. There is no one on that entire side of the field. Wodach just has to, all the disc has to do is stay in bounds. Schaffner, did Schaffner put that?
I think it was Grabowski.
I'll have to take a look on that. I think it was
See on the, tough to look.
Beautiful, beautiful 50, 60-yard throw.
So here's another look. Couldn't quite tell again, but
beautiful hang time. Hangs in
Wodach.
there.
You see, make that catch immediately, look down at the line, make sure he's in bounds. So 9-7.
Yeah, Schaffner.
Yeah, it was Schaffner indeed. So my apologies to Schaffner for not giving him the credit he was due.
Wow, this is turning into a heavy DC advantage now. 2 breaks they're up, 9-7. The pressure is fully on Boston. They've played great so far. Boston has played very excellent, and DC has played better.
Zid with the leaping grab there from Graham back to Taylor. Boston's O-line has not been the issue. It's their D-line has not been able to capitalize. Across the field to Marquette.
Well, DC is pumped up. They're playing good defense.
Marquette can't get it in. That was Graham. If you get Graham to drop it, make note, it doesn't happen very often. So DC's D-line will take over again as Peters starts things off, gets it over to Gordon, Matt Gordon. On that far side, and a low throw hits the ground.
a matter of time. Let's see if they get another one out of Boston.
Clark now.
Not gonna be
Marquette
too
trying to
easy
find
for
a
Boston.
cutting zid, and they do. So Boston trying to stay close. Makes it 9-8.
That's okay. That's all right. I think that's okay for DC. They're not going to get all of them. Now it's time for their offense to hold serve here. All they have to do, their offense scores every time they get the disc, and they're going to win this game.
Pretty much. A simple strategy like that is Brian Zid, his first score of the game.
Rare drop for Graham does not hurt Boston, and they maintain the distance, not too far behind. 3:26 left is in the game. It's weird. The clock on our
We're a couple seconds off.
It says
3:37, a 9-second difference.
There. Actually, we have the clock operator up here with us. I think he's gonna punch some numbers in.
Well, Boston is set to pull. Foster again. As Boston's D-line has got to make a move here, as they've had some trouble. One pull from Foster. And it's going to come into the hands of Keegan. And he'll get it right back from Kolick. Keegan already looking downfield.
Oh, Schaffner.
Schaffner.
We know he's got that throw.
Keegan gets it back. And he'll get it right back to Schaffner on the dump.
They're leaving tons of
And here goes Schaffner again. Trying to get it down deep. McDonald with the D. Matthew McDonald, affectionately called Rowan by his teammates.
Well, that's a great D there. 50-50 disc. Didn't quite get enough air on that. I would have liked to see that disc go a little bit farther. The edge on that disc brought that into the defender's hands a little too much. See how it comes in at that edge on that angle there?
That gives McDonald just enough time to
he's underneath them.
get that box out.
And DC,
spacing,
it could have been a little further downfield there. It would have been a better opportunity for the offense. Well, Boston now with the chance to tie the game.
Well, Boston takes the timeout, get their O-line back out there. Welcome back here, 9-8, Boston trailing but in control with 2:52 left to go in the first half.
So we'll give you a live score update from Philly at New York. It hasn't started yet, 0-0. Oh, we're back in.
Malachek looked like he wanted to go deep right away. Instead, we'll play it patient. Marquette in control.
Uh-oh, Poacher.
This is going to be a nice grab there. Foster with the man on. Marquette checks his feet. Trying to swing it back and center the disc. Graham with the in cut. With a little bit of space to work.
DC's defense looks confident.
Foster given a little bit of room. Graham fakes the long huck. Looked like he wanted to dump it back to Rebels, and this time he does.
He has to.
Didn't have the initial angle.
Yeah, there's nothing else there.
Boston swung it all the way to the far side. Backhand, low throw to Clark. Clark
Lefties it up.
getting his handling skills in right there. Rebels with the grab. Taking his time. Dumps it back to Malachek. Malachek has to give it up to Graham. Malachek and Graham just having a dump swing right now.
Nice defense from DC.
I'm going to try and feed it into Graham, and he catches up to the disc for the score.
Well, I still like that possession now. Okay, this is unfortunate. That was their O-line playing D. Actually, I'm sorry, they called a timeout and they got their D-line out there. But and Boston knots the score here, gets the break back. They're still down by one break. But they're in Boston's heads right now.
You can tell.
Yeah, it's like Boston's a little afraid to put the deep shot, right? So that means what DC should really start doing now is hit those unders. Play all their guys under, try to get that deep. They almost had a poach down here in the 35-yard line on an undercut. If they can keep on hammering down on their handlers, DC's got a chance to get some more turns.
And you can definitely just see from the facial expression, the Boston, Jeff Graham with that score, you can see him walking back and let's go, come on, guys. We're better than this. But so far, DC is, the score might be tied, but you can definitely say they have the upper hand right now. 1:35 left to go, tied at 9. Let's take another look.
There's the
near miss
on that one. Yep.
for the D.
And this is the one that kind of broke it open a little bit. Danny Clark's lefty over to Rebels. So facing a little bit of wind, let's see what DC can do.
Kolick in control once more. That's Ong. Keegan looking to make his cut now. Can't get it to him. They'll dump it back to Pryle.
Doy's back on the field after the injury, which is good to see. There he is.
Good for him there. Catch by Keegan. Keegan going deep. As Wodach can't catch up to it, and that'll be a turn here. And Boston's D-line will once again try and answer back. Hirschberger's going to start it off. Pressure now. He's going to huck it. Hirschberger drawing 2 defenders, and he gets bumped away. No call.
That's a good no call.
Eddie Peters just with the good position.
Hirschberger still talking to the ref. Peters has the disc.
Gets it to Kolick. Pressure trying to come up on him. Sliding grab there by Keegan. Swings it around to Peters. Peters a long throw. Man coming on. That was Stevens. Couldn't catch up to it. Peters gets it back. Nice layout grab.
Peters having a heck of a game.
Farnsworth trying to guard Pryle. And I think we're going to get a call before the throw. Timeout.
Wow.
That's frustrating when you're on offense like that.
Here's why they call it timeout. There's 16 seconds left. 12 it says on our clock. 16 up on the game clock up behind us. A close enough time, though. Man.
They were about to score.
They were about to score. This is tough for Coach Moldenhauer.
So, yeah, we'll
Pryle just had the break line up there. Got it up to the 5-yard line. Boy, this could come back to haunt them. If they don't get the score, they're going to regret that timeout.
We're going to see how Kevin Moldenhauer, as we get a look here as DC's play just going forward, but see how he does with the X's and O's right now, because this gives Boston's defense a chance to set up as well.
Great layout from Eddie Peters there.
Beautiful.
Fantastic. Definitely a player to watch for the season.
And
so far, last time he made a great play call, did Moldenhauer, when he set up Schaffner's bomb down the field to Wodach. Facing a little bit of wind now here is Pryle. They set the clock at 18 seconds. 18 seconds is what we see up on our clock here. You see 12 on your screen, but we have 18.
So Pryle has time. McDonald tried to get in there. And now we're going to get a hammer from Kolick. It's anyone's disc.
7 seconds left. Still
and Keegan comes down with it.
5 seconds.
That's Ong. He's got to put it in. I believe that was Simmons. Simmons with the D. And that's gonna be how the half comes to an end. So
I think Rosenthal wanted to get coach of the.
Did he get a timeout in time?
Timeout. I don't know if he got it in time. I would say no. But I saw him.
He's out on
the field there.
Offense is coming onto the field, so he might.
See here on the clock, it says 2 seconds down.
Might have a second or two. Yeah. We'll see exactly.
I don't think he got it in time. But look,
what are we saying? 2 seconds. 2 seconds, and Boston's just going to try and huck it here.
Call from Rosenthal.
Beautiful.
Yep. Why not? I mean, you got a full field. You got the wind at your back. I don't like that play call. I don't think Kolick cannot be hammering it to the far side with
the wind coming this direction. Yeah, I agree.
It was a misdirection. They did that. They wanted that. I think that's what they wanted, because everybody crushed at the side. They weren't going to try to punch it up the short field here. They've been doing that a lot. So they were looking to get it over the side.
Swing it around.
I don't know if the hammer wasn't the right one.
Wrong throw at the wrong time.
Yeah, that's not the right tool.
Well, we'll see if that timeout that Kevin Moldenhauer call will come back and maybe bite them a little bit, depending on what Boston does with the 2 seconds.
Boston scores here. That'll hurt.
Well, they got it in the right hands as Malachek, and he's just going to launch it. It's not going to be deep enough.
Tip.
And it's just going to be intercepted by Pryle. So that will be.
Wow, great half.
That will be how our first half comes to an end. That's just you said, Tony. Great half, very exciting. And we are tied at 9. Boston and DC, both teams coming in 1-0 and looking to take the early lead in the Eastern Conference. Don't go anywhere, though. We'll do some highlights and a little bit more as the halftime comes up. So 9-9 here at half.
Hey, Tony Leonardo here with Jeff Poster, and we're going to go down field side here with our very own Nick Darling talking to Dusty Rhodes. Hit it, Nick. Hit it, Nick. Do it. Go ahead, talk to him.
Some analysis here, the
Dusty's
lead.
not.
Down here on the field with Dusty Rhodes and Brian Flaherty. We're going to talk a little bit about the first half. First of all, I want to update you a little bit on the injury. We had Tom Doy and Markham Schaffner went down a little bit there. Turns out both of them all right. Both evaluated for concussions, checked out by our trainer here, and both of them are doing fine. But Brian, what would you say we saw in that first half that was the key to DC being in this game?
I mean, DC really took the initiative there in the start of the second quarter. They went out. They weren't afraid to huck it deep. They were attacking. They weren't afraid of Boston. I think that's the story of the day. They have not been afraid from the beginning. Peter Pryl, still Peter Pryl. He's just on the opposite side of the this year. And he's just, being the star player that we knew he was going to be this year.
Yeah, one way or another, Peter Pryl will leave this game the only. He'll either leave this game the only undefeated player in the league, or Boston will continue their streak. So Dusty, what did you see out there that spoke to you about DC's chances today and about what they did to get where they are?
Well, the first thing they're doing is defensively they're staying with Boston step for step on their in cuts as well as the out cuts. So they're not giving Boston any free shots anywhere on the field. The second thing they're doing is they're focusing in on Boston's handlers and trying to keep a defender in between them and the disc so that they have to take away shots as opposed to undershots. You saw that where Malachek actually scored an away goal, and that's kind of rare for him. It might have been a 20-yard or 30-yard goal or so, and usually he's the man back behind the disc sort of controlling the offense. So DC is trying to take Boston out of what they normally do a little bit, and they're taking advantage of the break opportunities.
Yeah, what have they done with their breaks so far this game?
So, I mean, in the first quarter, they converted 1 out of 2, and in the second quarter, they're 0 for 2, and that's where Boston sort of made it back a little bit. So you got to treat those break opportunities like they're precious, like they're gold, like there's something important to you. Otherwise, you have no shot.
All right, so we're going into the second half here where Boston, for the first time in a long time, someone's giving them a game. I think it's been since the beginning of last season that we've seen this. What do they need to do in the second half right away to get themselves in a position where they can win this game?
I mean, I think one of the big things is they need to find a way to get the the disc into Marquette's hands. DC has denied him the disc, especially there in the second quarter. Luckily, Jeff Graham has really kept them in this game. Jeff Graham is probably the best cutter in the league. You just can't stop him. But they need to find other ways to score. It can't just be one player. And if they continue to rely on just Jeff Graham, DC is eventually going to figure out a way to deny him the disc as well.
And for you, Dusty, for DC coming out, you're in a great position, really. You're in the spot you want to be coming into the second half. What do they need to do to win this game? How do they need to finish?
DC needs to they need to continue lengthening Boston's offensive possessions. If you can keep Boston's offensive possessions in the sort of 8 to 10 to 15 throw range, then you're increasing the chances for a turnover. If you let them score repeatedly in 2 to 4 passes, like they did when they ran away from the last team they played, New York, then it's over. If they score under 30 seconds 2 or 3 times in a row, that's going to be a really long uphill battle for your offense.
All right. Well, thank you very much, guys, for joining me here today. We'll go back up to the booth.
All right, thanks, Nick. Always great stuff to get some insider info there and take a look at some highlights coming up this first half. As it was a pretty exciting one. A lot of offense, not too much defense getting scoring opportunities, but both offenses just running away with it right now. Take a look here.
Well, here's the start we saw. Wodash, nice play there.
Kind of like a falling layout. He had that right leg dragged.
Get the disc first. You always want to lead with your hands to get to the disc. Look at Graham.
Right there.
His eyes are on the disc. His hands are out in front of him. He sees his hands go into the discs, and your body just follows. That's what you should do. This is where Ong trailing. Here's your trailer coming up. Goes up big body dong, comes down with it.
Over 2 of his own teammates, Sean Doherty, the lone Boston Whitecap, taking the brunt of that one.
Here's Prowl's throw to,
I believe this is Grabowski.
Oh, that's an amazing layout. That never gets old.
No. And again, big congratulations to him.
Kolick to Peters. Peters had a pretty good half there. 2 goals he caught. There's D from Pryle over Farnsworth.
And then Farnsworth we saw quite a few times, a little frustration play after trying to beat Peter again.
He's just a big boy. He doesn't know his body. There's Peters with an amazing layout. I love that block. There it is here again. Ouch.
McDonald's got to go more to the disc too.
Yeah, you can see McDonald head back the other direction. That's a mistake. Peters again, a great half for him.
How many assists did he have?
None.
No assists. Just a lot of good throws, though.
Yeah, and 2 great. Look at that layout. Catches 2 goals, gets a huge block, and this layout is impressive.
Another good angle right there. It's a lot of exciting action here in the first half. Both teams, as we said, a lot of offense. We're tied at 9. Half. And a good interview there from our own Nick Darling.
Well, it's good enough time to talk about Grabowski's catch as the Friction Gloves is the official glove provider to the MLU. These all-weather gloves are specially designed for ultimate players, combining the tackiness of receiver gloves with a rubberized grip for better catches and throws. Look for the Friction Gloves Catch of the Week throughout the season and get an official MLU pair for yourself from the MLU shop. Visit frictiongloves.com to learn more. I think they're from Japan.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I think they're from Japan.
Let's talk a little bit about what each team has to going ahead here into the second half. It's a tie game, but I think really DC has got to feel like the winners there in that first half, especially the way they came out. What does each team have to do going forward
yes
here?
And no. Look, they should be they're going to – okay, we started the game, Boston received a pull, but
yes.
Which is at quarter, right? Not at the half?
I believe so, yes.
So it'll be Boston start again. You heard Dusty talk that if they can limit the time extend the time that Boston has possession, that's a good thing for them to try to gum up their offense. So, in a way, they had that 2-break lead. Could have even maybe gotten it to 3. I think they had the disc at one point. You got to be happy, but on the other hand, you missed a few opportunities. This timeout call on the upwind side that
might
ended up in the Kolick hammer.
That might prove costly. We'll see how the game plays out if it's a one-goal game.
I think they would have been pretty happy if they went into half with a 10-9 lead as opposed to this tie game.
Well, now you just talked about keeping Boston's length of possession on. Now, if you're DC, wouldn't you rather shorten up Boston's offense? I know, and try and keep their D-line out there, who is shorthanded and struggled a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Lengthen their own offensive points and keep their D line on there. Maybe I think the point is if Boston is moving quickly with the disc, that means they're playing well.
That's true. You don't need them playing well if you're DC. Got to take advantage of it any way, shape, or form.
They did this last couple of points there. It took Boston a long time to get it in, and they've been getting their blocks. They've been getting their turns. So what a great match. Just two teams right now, just pretty evenly matched right at each other.
I've noticed too a little bit DC trying to force Boston's mainly cutters into handling. We saw Danny Clark having to get involved, handling a little bit. I mean, he can do it obviously, but it's not his custom here.
Yeah.
As you can turn Boston's cutters into the handlers, aside from Jeff Graham, who we talked about at length earlier. He's listed as a cutter, but he can handle. But if you can turn some of those other guys, Clark, Zid, maybe not Marquette as much either. Him and Graham, talented guys out there.
Let's tell you some quick halftime scores, which you can find online if you go to MajorLeagueUltimate.com, MLUltimate.com. Click on the game that you're watching right now, and you should be able to see some live stats. Pretty cool that they got that up. Just saw it from our man Tim down the way. Graham, 17 for 17, throws completions, 3 goals, 2 assists. He is killing it in the stat books, as always. Marquette, 3 assists. Kolick, 2 goals, 2 assists, 26 throws, 26 completions. Well, that
no
was
surprises.
Bailed out by Ong, but so far my calculations have him at 71 throws, 71 completions in a game and a half.
Yeah, beautiful first half stats. We're going to take a quick break, though. Don't go anywhere. We saw some beautiful first half. Let's see if that second half can prove just as good. Second half action coming up here at Cardinal Stadium. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Cardinal Stadium here on the campus of Catholic University in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. Jeff Poster alongside Tony Leonardo. In week 2 of the MLU season, we are tied at half, 9-9, Boston at Washington. It's been a good one, but we'll talk a little bit about the future going forward and take a look at next week's schedule. Wait for that.
Well, if we don't get that up yet, we'll talk about D.C.
Here's quickly right here, next week's schedule. D.C. will be at Boston, so kind of a home and home. New York will be at Philly, and out west, Vancouver at Seattle, and Portland at San Francisco. Portland having that thrilling win last weekend.
This will be the live stream, New York at Philly. So tune in for that if you can, 7 o'clock. And the West Coast game also will be live, one of those games. So, all right, that's next week. You know what I want to talk about is Washington, D.C. sports. Who's the number 1 champion Washington, D.C. team that you can think of recently?
Recently?
Right. What are the Wizards known for?
Not much. Michael Jordan had a comeback.
Exactly. All right. Redskins.
Not much.
Nothing lately.
Robert Griffin III.
Who else is out there? Nationals.
They had a good season
Yeah,
2
they had a
years
good
ago.
season. You know who's famous here in the city for winning
You're gonna
national
tell me, I
championship?
know
I'm gonna
that.
tell you, it's the women's team, Scandal. The DC Scandal
Yes.
won the amateur national championship last fall in the women's division. And they were honored at the city council here in Washington. So a long history of Ultimate here in Washington. The Washington Area Frisbee Club is the umbrella group with the summer leagues. Started in 1976, I believe.
Long history there.
So they've been playing Ultimate for quite a while. And, you know, DC Current, the latest club team to make its incarnation here, and with a real chance here to take one to one of the lions of Ultimate, Boston, who will, looks like they're going to start at receiving the disc here to start the second half in a 9-9
Well,
game.
indeed. So Boston will now move right to left. DC left to right again. 9-9 the score.
I'm just so glad when I said Wizards, you also said Michael Jordan suiting up.
They made the playoffs this year.
They also were known for that great series, and they lost to LeBron and the Cavaliers.
That's right.
7-game series.
Washington Capitals eliminated my Bruins a couple years ago in the first round. Anyway, we got a game here, though, between a great Washington team and an equally great Boston team.
Ooh, zone. They're coming out in a little bit of a crafty zone here.
Yeah, you can see the cup sort of in effect now as Malachek gets the disc and threads the needle to no, that was Marquette. Ooh, nice grab there by Malachek, laying out with the right hand.
Didn't expect that disc coming in.
Resetting with Rebels. Taylor now. Clark making a cut. He'll get it over to him.
Jake Taylor, his nickname is Frogger. They have a Frogger, a Grasshopper, and a Cricket.
It's a wide variety of the animal kingdom out there. Malachek trying to make a move. Finds Taylor again. Taylor going backhand and leaping up to make that grab in for the score is none other than Danny the Birdman Clark.
Is he really the Birdman?
That's what they call him. He's got a Birdman
right,
dance and everything. And
he looks kind of bird-like. He's a little stork.
He's lanky.
This worked out for a little bit here. They wanted to mix it up. They put the zone on, try to get an early turn. Boston's not the team you really want to put the zone on. Not sure I would have done that, but I don't mind it. I like that they got some looks.
Well, they had that first. Their zone was working out, I thought, at first. And then I believe it was Taylor had a nice thread the needle right in the middle of the field to Marquette. And that kind of pushed the momentum the rest of the way after you got to that halfway mark.
Yeah, that was through the cup there. That was the one thing I didn't want to give up. And then, they almost got the drop. I mean, Malachek had that one come in hot to him, and he didn't expect it. Bounced off his hand. He was able to collect
Well,
it.
if they keep up with that cup, Boston can try and work their offense to wear out DC because playing that cup is a lot of work.
I just think that Boston's scared to huck it because DC's been getting those hucks. Fleming has gotten Clark twice. So why not try to tempt him to huck it some more?
Well, here we go with DC's offense. They've played well in the first half. That's Schaffner.
Well, DC's
right back to
two-goal
Kolek.
advantage is erased.
Gone. Boston now back on top, 10-9. Nice leaping grab there by Schaffner. He wants to go deep, and that's Hatchet. Getting right in the way. Knocking it down. He takes off for the races, running through.
Well, that's twice we've seen that same position.
Boston's D-line trying to get their
shot.
first score. And is Hatchet in? He is. Jack Hatchet with the bookends. Miles Montgomery Butler with the throw. And a huck. As you had just mentioned, Boston might have been a little bit afraid to huck, but Montgomery Butler with a move right there.
Well, that has got to be disappointing for DC. I just don't understand what they're looking for there. Why is Hatchet in that spot? That's what I understand.
Well,
That's
he
a nice throw.
he got the D and just ran right through, took off, and
Why is he in this spot to get the D over here? His man has got to be out of there. He can't bring a defender like Hatchet into the same spot. That Graham got the same D.
that's
from.
true.
And they've already thrown 2 or 3 hucks to that side, so tendencies are starting to show.
Yes.
They need to use the far side of the field. I'm not sure why they're not getting over
Hatchet
there.
maybe taking a little bit of advantage of DC not clearing out that lane quick enough on the near side. So Boston up 2 now. That's, I believe, their biggest lead of the game, 11-9 here.
Well,
Just
so I think this is a 4-goal run, right? It was 9-7 for
You're
DC.
right. So Boston on a 4-0 run right now. This is what they do. They keep it close a while, and then they start to take off.
Short pull.
Very short pull.
DC.
I mean, about the 40 4-yard line. Kolek on the far side, swinging it around to Doy. Schaffner again. He's hucking it, and Hirschberger can't get in for it in time. Maybe that's Wodach.
Well, they like that side right there. They like the right-handed half-field huck, and it works to perfection there.
Did a nice job, Wodach, with the spacing.
Schaffner gets that one back. He wish he would have had the other one as well, but we'll take it when he can and close the gap to 1 here.
So that stops the run by Boston, as Wodach had a lot of space between him and Hirschberger, and Schaffner did a nice job angling that disc in. You see it again.
What a quick release. The way to put it out to space there, you see how that disc just takes off really quickly. So Schaffner's release is very fast to start there. Just really gets a nice lift on it, and by the time the defender looks up, it's already past him.
So that'll make it 11-10, 1-goal game here once more. DC pulling. And Boston's O-line will look to answer. Rebels getting the dump from Malachek. Trying to find some room against Cody Johnston with a tight mark.
Clock not guarded by Rico Johnson. Rebholz, the big body, gets it.
Reeling that one in. So DC not giving Boston any space. Back to that man defense.
Well, they're playing a little junky there. I just saw Malachek bust long and then come back under.
Here's Malachek threatening the Hawk. He's got Jim Foster deep. And he's in. Boston feeling their groove here to start the second half. 3 possessions, 3 scores.
Well, they said tempt Malachek, and he's making him pay right now. That's a perfect shot right there. Foster, you know, it looked like it was a little tight there. The defender's sort of there. Again, it's past his man, and Malachek just really sends that nicely.
Pretty happy about that one. You know, I talked a little bit to the event coordinator for Boston, Chris Shake, about Malachek before the game. He mentioned how Malachek had a hand injury this past summer while playing for Ironsides, and it made him be more patient a little bit on the field, so he didn't get tempted into those hucks. And it made him a little bit more of a better overall player. So for what little work Malachek had to do on his game, he seems to have done it. But there,
he and his
the old huck
buddy there.
That's right.
He and Rebholz played together. And 2 big huckers right there with Rebholz and Malachek on the same O-line.
Alex Simmons, another one. Not together, but same school. It's one of the fun things about the MLU. You find all these relationships from these guys playing at these different schools and club teams. You mentioned to me earlier that Danny Clark and head coach Kevin Moldenhauer, former teammates.
That's right, yeah. Danny and Moldenhauer had a great run with Salisbury State, then it was called now Salisbury in Maryland here, when they made to the quarterfinals.
Kolek with the huck. Pryle trying to beat Hatchett down. He's not in. And he'll lead in. Look at that Schaffner. No, that's Grabowski, the new father, with his second score of the game. Good run down the field by Pryle, though.
Well, way to create spacing. Pryle is really great with his footwork. He knows how to get spacing, and he's really exceptionally fast for a tall guy. He gets in there at 6'2", and yet he's just got the speed, and he can get open. And when he does that, there's no one's going to stop him.
Kolek wasted no time too after the quick whistle. You see it again. He just immediately hucks it down. Hatchett tries his best to keep up.
Nice lift on that one. Again, past the defender, and that's what you want to do. And to here, again, the new dad, Grabowski. And something else we want to mention, assistant coach Will Smolinski, you might see him as the D-line coach, had his daughter 6 days ago, just after the Philly game, Camille Ann Smolinski, 24 hours after the season opener with his wife, Julie Smolinski. So a lot
Baby fever, he said earlier before the game.
Once the cherry blossoms bloom in D.C., it's like, things get a little crazy down here.
Oh, layout D attempted right there by Minor. He couldn't come up with it.
Astro put on the afterburners, but just a little short.
Here's Zid getting it to Clark. Again, Zid and Clark, not typical handlers here for Boston. DC trying to force them into that role. Graham in control. the catch from the pass from Taylor.
Oh, they're gumming up Marquette pretty well. Fleming is on Marquette.
And Marquette can't recover after,
he had to
just
work really
saying,
hard to get that opening.
with the drop.
Oh, they're going to huck this to Fleming.
And
wow. That was
a little too eager on the throw. It goes right into the ground. Marquette will get it right back.
I think that was Salmi tried to really rip that down there when he saw the mismatch with Fleming.
Graham on the far side.
At 12-11, you don't want to take that chance.
Yeah, play smart. Marquette leaping one-handed grab, nicely done. Swings it around.
Don't throw right off the bat. No, wait till your time.
Rebels gets it to Malachek. Malachek wants to send it deep. Clark is all alone.
Oh!
Knocking it away. Nice play by Fleming.
Danny Clark 0. I would not have thought Ben Fleming making a name for himself with 3 Ds here. The guy's everywhere. That was an off man.
He is
and
fired
now
up.
Moldenhauer will call a timeout.
Taking a look at it again. What a D here. Fleming came off of his man to come grab Clark, too. Was making that horizontal cut at the edge of the end zone.
Yeah, I
said
thought
he was all
wide
alone.
open. I thought that was an easy goal. Malachek saw him, too, but Fleming was there to make the play. Fantastic.
Well, with that timeout, we'll take another quick break. Don't go anywhere. This is a fun one. 12-11, Boston on top. Welcome back here to Cardinal Stadium at the Catholic University.
Well, here's a great chance here for DC. Kolick with the disc.
Jeff Poster alongside Tony Leonardo. Boston Whitecaps at the DC Current. If you're just joining us, it's been a lot of offense tonight, but last big play from Fleming on DC as Schaffner cannot connect there.
To Peters. Well, they did try to get to the other side of the field after I was complaining that they're using the near side too much, and unfortunately,
Disc
turnover.
will take a favorable Boston roll as well. And the D-line will get it in for the score. Terry Roth, first score in his traditional backflip in the end zone.
So it doesn't matter what kind of roll it takes. I mean, you, I, anybody in the stands can throw a goal from a yard out. You just can't have that. I think Schaffner he angled his disc too much. He needed to put a little more float on that. And that's obvious, though. I mean, he knows that. Everyone knows that.
Take a look at this again.
Unfortunate.
Easy cut there for Roth.
And
reels it in.
And the flip.
That's his move.
Now, you or I cannot do that.
No, not.
Nor can anyone of these. Well, maybe someone of these.
Maybe,
stands.
I don't
know.
Yeah. I could not do that if my life depended on it. That would
if
be
your life depended.
That would probably be it.
You would try.
I would
Photos
try.
Is the official photographer of Major League Ultimate. Multi-Photos features an elite core of ultimate photographers like Christina Schmidt across the U.S. and Canada who are passionate about the sport of ultimate. They are available to cover your ultimate tournament and capture incredible photo memories for participants and fans. Check them out at www.ultiphotos.com and check out their complete MLU game coverage at mluimages.com.
Maybe they got a picture of Roth's flip right at the end zone. Mid-flip. Pull from Foster. Land right at about the 20. As Peters reeled it in. Got it to Kolick Keegan. They wanted to go to Kolick deep.
Wow, he drew like 3 defenders on that run.
They're not giving Kolick that space. He's still deep.
You're right.
He
He's
wants
just
it.
now coming back under.
Long swing over to Kolick. Had to come a long way for the under. Pryal in control. Hatchet again trying to cover him. Backhands it over to Doy. Kolick has to leap up for that one. Grabbing it and making his move is Keegan.
All right.
And DC in for the score. Keegan with a nice crossfield cut in the end zone.
Well, great movement there. Just as you called it, Jeff, Kolick just burst downfield. 3 defenders went with him. He finally swung around to the far side of the field, got the disc. They used both sides of the field to the middle, both side of the field. The middle of the field, that was a great offensive possession for DC. They finally seemed like they got their game back on here now, going this direction from left to right.
Take a look again. Kolick in control of a lot of that one.
padding his stats.
Well, if you have Kolek on your MLU fantasy team, you are a happy camper tonight.
I think I do have Kolek on my fantasy team, actually. I think he was one of my picks.
There you go.
Kyle, Kolek, Graham, although there's no competition. Marquette.
I said it last year during this Eastern Conference final between these two teams. If you're going to start a team, Kolek's not a bad first pick.
He's an amazing first pick.
Well, DC will send the poll down. It's 13-12.
But can he babysit?
The way this DC team's going, they might need some of those sitters. There's Malachek.
No more names. I'm going to get angry at us. Reb Holes.
Graham getting it to Taylor. Back onto the near side. Marquette. Looked like Malachek wanted to make a run for the end zone there. He's going to get this from Foster.
Huge bid there.
Malachek faking to the right. And he's trying to center it and dump it back to Taylor. Taylor had to go pretty far back, actually, for that dump. At the 40-yard line, Taylor threatening to make a big throw. Instead gives it short to Graham. Marquette in control. Taylor has to leap out. Doesn't make the catch. No catch.
Too far in front of him. That just got pushed down to the ground. Marquette's throw falls for a turnover.
So Taylor can't come up with the good bid.
Brian Marshall there calling for it. He's wide open. He's still standing there.
And we're going to get a foul on Malachek. A little
22 Marshall was getting a little DC hardcore out there, getting angry, looking for the disc.
See a look at our referees on the sideline making the calls.
Some tired legs out here. This is an important point.
Cantor controlling. Malachek trying to keep up with him. And we're going to call timeout, as you just said, maybe some tired legs.
There's tired legs.
Get that O-line back out there.
Yeah, wow. This is a huge point. 3:48 left in the game, down by 1. This is a break opportunity for DC.
All right, it is 13-12 here at Cardinal Stadium. We'll take a quick break while the two lines switch out. Don't go anywhere. Third quarter is a good one. Welcome back to Cardinal Stadium. Jeff Poster alongside Tony Leonardo here for MLU Live. If you're just joining us, it's been an exciting one. Both offenses here for DC and Boston have taken control of this game, and DC getting their offensive unit back out there right now. Kolek going to pick up the disc.
Well, you got 60 yards here. 60 yards, you got to guarantee a score. Looks like it's coming back a little further now, 75 yards. What do you do? Let's see what Moldenhauer drew out for this team.
Well, Kolek has not shied away from the huck the last couple of times.
Little misdirect.
Doy had it, and now gets it back to Kolek. Here's Wodach. Kolek, quick throw over to Peters.
Ooh. Uh-oh. Is it in time? No.
And that is not going to reach Pryl, who was downfield. A little too far for him. Doy on the throw.
He sort of switched it. He was looking for the disc. The timing was off there. Pryl got turned around. Big mistake. Big mistake from DC.
Brescher has it, and Sam Rosenthal going to call timeout.
Wow. Well, that just shows you how important this point is.
Yeah.
We've already seen 2 timeouts and a single point.
3:01 left to go here in the third quarter. It's a 1-point game. 13-12. Boston's still on top, but they want the sure thing with the timeout here by Sam Rosenthal. He's going to get his O-line back out there. Again, we'll take another quick break. Don't go anywhere. 3:01 left to go here in the third quarter at Cardinal Stadium. Welcome back to Cardinal Stadium here at the Catholic University of America.
Well, Jeff, you know it's an important point with both coaches call a timeout as soon as their D gets the turn.
Well,
we just saw it there.
That was one of our keys to the game, was late game coaching here as we approach the end of the third quarter. Both Sam Rosenthal, Kevin Moldenhauer.
Yeah, well,
trying
there's
to
one
work
problem, though, Jeff.
Timeouts.
Look at this board over here, and DC doesn't have any more timeouts left. So they've already burned all their timeouts. Boston, that was their first one. You get 2 timeouts per half. Boston has 1 left. DC has none.
Clark gets that catch to Foster. Foster, straight up mark from Dulabon. Tight mark there on Taylor from Bellinger. Clark dumps it back to Rebels.
There's a call.
And we're going to get a foul away from the disc.
Looks like it's going
against DC. So Boston will just walk it up to 10 yards. I think that was Graham drawing the call as he's deep. Now he's going to make his in cut. Get it to swing it to Cricket. There goes Foster. He wanted it. Graham with the grab. Covered by Cranston. Marquette.
Taking their time.
Faking that one long. Quick short pass to Rebels. Gets it to Clark. Clark swing it back and dump it to Taylor. Around the horn to Marquette.
Well, you know, he could have tried to punch that one in, but again, they're being caught. They're being. Whoa, clock is getting up high.
Close there, and we have a collision. No call, though.
Crowd is getting a little upset here.
Bellinger was trying to get a call from the refs. No call, though. Boston's still in control.
Count was up really high on Marquette's throw. Still have possession.
Foster in control, gets it to Graham. Ooh, big layout D attempt, no good.
Eric Salmi with the bid.
Clark now on the 5-yard line. And he will find a cutting Rebels with the strike cut in for the score.
Wow, there's your. It's not your game yet, but that's a big possession right there. So they hold their serve. They maintain possession. That was a Boston O point. DC had that disc. They had the turnover to tie it. And you saw what Boston did. You know, it's tired legs. Everyone's a little drained. They just worked it. Every throw was 100%. They didn't risk anything. What did DC do? They sent the jack the disc up to Peter Pryle. They got to turn them around, and it was a 40-yard huck they didn't need to do. So right there is a pretty big difference.
Well, you talk about momentum swings and attitude and the way your mindset kind of is. Had a good shot of Rebels coming off the field. You could see Chip Cobb from DC coming off the field, frustrated after that point. And maybe DC a little bit, Boston's in their heads a little bit.
Well,
trying to get their fans behind them now.
They're tired. I mean, that was a lot of D playing from DC, and they played great D. I mean, you play fantastic D. You force Boston to make 20 throws to throw, 20 throws and catches to get in the end zone, and you don't get anything from it. You know, that hurts. It really hurts.
Foster with the pull. Kolick in control. Hostak now here for DC. That's Ong. Trying to get it to Peters. As Pryle comes over, makes the catch. Came out of nowhere.
Prowls everywhere.
Everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Kolick moving it in, and all alone in the back of the end zone.
Wow. And look, he just trots out the field like yeah,
Keegan.
I had that in the bag the whole time. You know, he slides it past 2 defenders. 2 Boston guys go out for that. They know it's coming.
Exactly.
They know his release.
Take a look.
They know what he's looking for. There's one. And no, there he is.
Peters isn't going to catch it. It's Keegan.
Yeah.
So Keegan with the goal makes it 14-13.
It must be so fun to play with, Alan.
Oh, God, I bet. It's just, whenever you got a good handler like that, it's just so much fun. There's so much less work that you have to do.
Right.
He's going to find you. It doesn't matter where you are.
Just, you know,
be on the field.
Make a smart cut. See what happens.
Get a little space. So a nice quick score there for DC, just what they needed. 1:03 left to go, according to the on-field scoreboard.
Kolick's stats, I said at half, they had him at 26 for 26, but we saw him throw that hammer away, didn't we?
That's true.
No, it was caught. Was it caught? And then the next thing was a turnover. Maybe
it was a turn.
I thought it was a turn too. Well, anyway, back to half.
Well, we agree. Here's Clark. Good layout attempt there, but Graham able to go to the disc and make the catch.
So Brian Marshall.
Graham, yep. Marshall on him.
Looks like a call here. Not sure
I
what
believe,
it is.
I think Boston just used
Another
their last timeout.
Yeah, they might have.
You see Tom Matthews coming onto the field. Tom Matthews, the assistant to Sam Rosenthal, primarily working with the O-line.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and he's jogging out there. And you can't quite see him in your picture. He's just to your left here.
44 seconds left to go. Boston's going to drop a strategy. We're going to take another quick break. Don't go anywhere. 14-13 Boston still on top here in the third.
Innova, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people have different names. Oh, we're going to come back into the official disc of the MLU is the Innova Pulsar. Design and cooperation with players from South MLU. The new Pulsar is in play right now. To Red Bulls.
Well, Boston with that Pulsar disc after the timeout makes a quick throw on that far sideline. Danny Clark, another score for him.
Matthews got the timeout. Like Jeff was just saying, he's the primarily in charge of the O-line. Trapped on the sideline right there. Maybe the count had gotten up a little high. And surprising to us up here, I just asked whether, there's 2 timeouts and a half or a quarter. I was confused for a second there. I know, it's a half. There are no timeouts left in this game. It's a 15-13 game, a quarter left to play, 3:45 left in this one.
Well, that's definitely going to make a fourth quarter very interesting. As teams are just going to have to play very smart. 34.
34.5.
Left to go. See what DC's offense can do with the clock winding down here. We saw Boston at the end of that first quarter had about 22 seconds. Were able to come up with a score just as the clock expired.
That was huge when Marquette found the end zone with less than a second to go. Now DC, they have the wind advantage.
They got their fans behind them too. Get a nice shot right there.
Getting pretty juiced.
Rocking the stands. Keegan will start things off. Kolick now in control.
As the clock is going to be the enemy here.
He's got Keegan to his right. Gets it up ahead to Ong. Pryle at about midfield, a little beyond it. He's going to send this one to Hirschberger's right there, though. Now Boston's going to have a chance here. 19 seconds.
Hirschberger read that well. Farnsworth.
Here's Farnsworth, yep. On that far side, 10 seconds left.
Taking a lot of time.
Farnsworth sending a huck.
Releases it.
And it's intercepted. Good D there, Peters.
Oh,
he's got a chance. This is going to be big. It's Wodach. Can he catch up to it? And it's going to sail out the back as time expires. So that's how we'll have now.
Why not?
Three stanzas in the books officially. And Boston still on top, 15-13, but that was an exciting way to finish that one. Another quick break coming up here for us. Don't go anywhere, though. If we've seen anything tonight, the fourth quarter is going to be a fun one. Fourth quarter action set to begin. It's 15-13 Boston on top. Jeff Poster alongside Tony Leonardo here for MLU Live in week 2 of the 2014 MLU season. Both teams coming in 1-0.
Well, I just saw 4 quarters of action compressed into 3 quarters.
Yeah, really.
They're out of timeouts. Both teams are throwing haymakers. There's big hugs. There's huge plays. Great Ds. It's been quite the thrill ride. I do not know what to know. I do know that people are going to be a little tired.
Yeah, a lot of work out there for both teams that had to work pretty hard for some of these points. And
let's find out how hardcore DC really is.
Relatively, a fairly low-scoring game given the offensive firepower these two teams have.
Well, you know why? It's because there's not a lot of crappy turns.
That's true.
There's not a lot of turns on the goal line. We saw one, and that was on the D-line that gave the short porch to Boston. And that's about it. I mean, the offenses are crisp and clean.
Really,
it turns out, so you think like in a low-scoring game like this that, you know, the offenses aren't playing well. Well, it's not true. It's it's that they're playing very well, and they're not giving cheap, quick, fast turn scores to the D. You get a quick update on the score here. If you go to MLUltimate.com, you'll see live scores, and we have an update from New York now. Home game from New York. The Rumble up 11-8 currently over Philadelphia.
Both teams out there looking for their first win of the season. Trying to stay out of the basement of the Eastern Conference.
Later tonight, Dogfish, San Francisco at Seattle. That'll be the late game tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern time, I believe.
Well, these two teams essentially a home and home between weeks as DC will travel up to Boston for next week's game. That will be not the live stream this time, but of course we'll record that game and you'll be able to check all that action out within a day or two after it happens. And the MLU very happy to have another aspect of the way this game is played out. A Cox Cable picking up the game here tonight as MLU continues to grow. DC out with their O-line again on that far side. Pryle reaching up for that one, can't grab it, and it's brought down. Looked like that one was Trahey on our far side.
Well, Eddie Peters hung that one up a little too high for Pryle. Pryle timed it wrong. This is a big hug. Oh, what a cut. Oh,
wow. Foster to Foster was the attempt. As you can see, Boston mixing up their lines a little bit. Jim Foster, who's been on the O-line most of the night, now playing defense.
Well, that's smart of them because they were getting a little bit tired there.
Especially with a lot of their D-line out tonight.
Yeah.
So DC will take over again. Kolick here right on the sideline, and Pryle playing a nice game of catch.
Yeah, why not? Oh, nice fake there for Kolick to actually fake looking at Pryle.
Keegan.
Hanging out there.
That's what he does. He's always there for that dump. And then when he wants to, like right now, he'll take off for another cut. Keegan in control, gets it over to Ong. Low throw. I don't know. Did he get a piece of that?
I think he got a piece of that.
Must have, right?
Yeah. That was a great run through there. Was that the Hatchet man? Yeah, that might have been Jack Hatchet.
So Boston's defense.
Nicely.
Here's Simmons.
This could be a huge point to start the half for Boston if they can get a break.
Montgomery Butler on the far side. Miles is kind of almost an addition to Boston this season. He was out most of last year injured, and it's been a big addition as a D-line handler.
Talk about Montgomery Butler?
Yes. Christian Foster. Haven't called his name a lot other than the pulls. Gets it to Simmons.
Someone's going to want to put it here soon.
Here's McDonald.
Oh, this is a rookie line. If they score here, what a block!
Nice move there. I believe that was Pryle. Peter Pryle.
Beautifully done. On Hatchet. No, yeah.
Jim Foster.
The
intended receiver, and Pryle now taking off. Might have wanted to try and get the bookends. That's a long throw as Pryle now gets that catch from Wodach.
Pryle doesn't put it. Ulcers it.
Pryle this time
nice throw.
all alone. And in for the score and the celebration. That's Tom Doy.
Peter Pryle making his old team pay right there. Huge block. Shows that he can play some D as well.
That's right. You got to think Peter had to have been pumped up for this game.
I mean, he seemed pretty calm when I talked to him, but he always seems pretty calm. I guess he's going to be like a president.
Yeah, I like to call him the future president of the United States.
An
affectionate name given to him by his former teammates and staff.
Look at this block. Watch that.
There it is.
Well, nice. Just leading with the backhand. And look at this touch he puts on that forehand. It's just a beautiful throw there. You know, not too much air on it. He throws it kind of flat. It's, you know, I called it out as an IO. It wasn't. It's a flat. It's a really interesting flick that he has there.
Well, Matt Rowan McDonald there for Boston, kind of learning on the fly. He did play for Ironside this past summer in the club scene, but essentially, if you're going to have a rookie in the MLU, he's the guy. He's still fairly new to the world of Ultimate, but he's picked it up fast and definitely got a learning lesson there from Peter Pryal.
Well, that's 2 he's taken to the cleaners now. He got Farnsworth earlier. Well, not entirely his fault. Well, let's see. Boston's offense is what they're doing.
Danny Clark taking off. He's going to have to come under now.
But no, they haven't been putting it deep. This is, again, we're seeing them just trying to handle this. Where DC's got to clamp down.
Looked like they wanted to go deep that time. Zid, low catch there from
they're
Clark.
calling it down.
Called it down, tried to sell it.
That's a good call.
You know, it's funny. We talked about guys trying to sell throws on the bus a little bit down here. Sam Rosenthal said the pros can do it, but right there, Danny Clark doesn't get that call from the referees. And someone's going to catch up to that.
Miner gets in there, picks up the garbage.
Nice grab.
They needed that.
Good bailout right there for DC's D-line.
Remember, they have no timeouts. Neither team has a timeout.
Bellinger dumps it back to Cranston. Cranston getting a little close there and friendly with Malachek. Gets it right back. Swinging it around to Miner.
It's up to DC's D-line here. They're not going to get any help from their O.
And that time Malachek does get a little too close, and we call for the foul. So big opportunity here.
That's a big foul.
Trailing by 1 with approaching 5 ticks over 6 minutes.
A lot of bodying going on here.
DC trying to tie it up.
Salmi hammers. No!
And Jack Hatchett knocks it away. Oh, what a missed opportunity there for the Current.
Just shorthanded that hammer a little bit. Salmi had his man. I don't know if he's the man that wants to be throwing that.
Malachek taking his time.
He certainly didn't need to. He had plenty of time on the clock.
Oh, Boston will take back over. They're with their O-line already on the field. Clark over to Malachek.
Well, they've been shaken.
Rebels, one of the few guys on Boston who has hucked it a couple of times.
Not lately.
Exactly.
Lately, right?
Earlier.
Ooh.
Good grab there by Marquette to go to the disc. He's threatening the huck.
Bit by Gordon there.
Send it crossfield to Graham with a man on. Leaps up and makes the grab. They're going to call foul. Looks like it.
Similar to how we saw Farnsworth kind of try to make a bid there and kind of just knock Pryal down. Same thing here as Fleming goes up big and gets Graham when he's up in the air.
You can see Jeff adjusting his headband there, so he obviously hit.
Obviously.
Obviously. Taylor now. He threatens again, faking the throw.
Not
they won't do it. No.
Not going to do it.
Just like you said, they are not doing it. Here's Rebels.
The crowd's getting a little riled up here. The DC crowd.
Well, DC doing a nice job pushing Boston back. They're back about the 42-yard line.
Yeah, well, if they're not going to huck it, this is what you want to do.
The swing. Good defense here for the Current. But it's taking a lot of time off the clock.
A lot of time.
Which maybe Boston, who knows, maybe that's what they're doing on purpose.
Uh-oh. This is good.
And a nice cut there.
There it finally is. Wow.
Long
they
point.
Are tired.
Long point. You can see Marquette with the throw there. Was pretty relieved that one went in. He went hands on his knees. And Jeff Graham continues to stuff the stat sheet like he tends to do.
Well, a nice little pat in the back there from Ben Fleming. You went up high and got Graham there after he scored that goal. Oh, man, DC's got to be upset there. Not upset, just so close.
Take a look again.
That short hammer. They had to,
That was the first catch.
It barely touches him. Graham really sold it. No, I'm just kidding.
It's the headband. When you move the headband.
Headband moves.
That was he
foul.
told you.
But what a point. What a missed opportunity. There's been a couple of those. There's 4 minutes left. Hey, they're going to get their all line. They're going to get one more shot at this as DC to tie it and try to get this game to overtime. But they got to score first here on offense.
You got to make a nice quick strike too. Quick score. They did have a quick score earlier to start this quarter, but that last one, especially right there, Right on the goal line. That's tough to give that one up. Jack Hatchett made the defensive play.
This wasn't a good throw.
As you've seen, Boston mixing up their O and D line, meshing them together a little bit. Doy controlling, dumps it back to Schaffner. Here's Pryle.
Pryle's had a great game.
He has indeed.
Whoa.
Here's the huck.
Wodach,
can he catch up? He can! And that's just what DC needed. Hirschberger frustrated with himself. He couldn't catch up. Wodach, he's had a nice night.
Was that Daddy-O? I think that was Grabowski that did put that one.
Well, we are 100% sure that Jeff Wodach threw it. Here, take a look again. It's Keegan with the throw. Number 2, Sean Keegan, in his man, Jeff Wodach. Just what DC needed, just what the doctor ordered.
Exactly what you said. Well, that gets the crowd back in it. Hey, man, 20 seconds off the clock, 3-4 throws, and you're in the end zone. Great job. Wow, this is a real battle back and forth here. Now the pressure's back on Boston. You know, they have not been playing well offensively. DC has gummed them up. You saw Marquette go down to his knees after he threw that goal. He's so tired out there. So this O-line is tired. But we know DC's line is tired too. And here's the problem. If DC gets the turnover, their D-line isn't going to get a timeout to get their O-line back on the field to score. They're going to have to do the score.
You can see Boston keeping Brescia back out there just to give some of their players a little rest.
Yeah, that's right. Graham's not tired. He's bursting deep right now.
I don't think he's ever tired.
He's pretty fit.
There's Marquette swinging around. Had some trouble, though. Gets it to Brescia. Faking that deep throw once again.
The D is still tight for DC.
Clark
I like it.
dumps it back. As Rebels is having a little bit of trouble getting around his defender. And DC doing a nice job pushing him back. Boston still trying to get out of their own zone. Crowd getting into it, the defense chant. Graham fakes the huck.
Oh,
long time, and he gets called for the stall.
Wow.
First one of the game. Look at DC's sideline, pretty fired up.
It was getting up there.
Excellent defense.
Oh, man. Wow.
Couldn't find an open man. DC doing a nice job defensively.
Here's the opportunity they wanted. This is late game action here. That's why they have their handler out here. This is Doy, right? Oh,
Bobby Gordon, and in for the score. DC coming back. Brian Marshall right there, the corner.
Hardcore, DC, hardcore.
And we start all over. 16-16, 2:32 left to go. This was one of the most highly anticipated games once the schedule was released. You take another look. Nice throw there by Bobby Gordon. And, and Marshall, pretty fired up.
Oh, if you've been watching, I encourage you to keep watching.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. This is a fun one tonight.
This is a fun one. This is as good as it gets. 2:32, no timeouts left. Boston's O has been struggling. DC's defense has been superb of late. But now DC has a little bit of a disadvantage here because Boston is going slightly downwind. They're changing the field direction. This maybe can freshen up Boston's O-line players and see if they can refresh and try
Christian
to recruit.
Foster in on the O-line now for Boston. They seem to be rotating out one guy.
It was a one-score victory last year for DC.
In the first matchup down here in DC. We'll see what happens here. Here's Malachek. Boston just got to play smart. They're still up a break.
That's right. In theory, they could spend all this 2 minutes and just score with no time
Pretty
left.
much. We saw them, I think, milk the clock a little bit on a couple possessions back. Nice swing into the middle of the field for Graham. Graham got called on the stall last time. This is going to be close and tipped away. Foster couldn't get to it. Nice D there.
Duke comes up with it.
David Boylan-Colchin. Little
it
jinx.
is.
So DC primed in position right here. Peter Pryle is making his cut.
And Kolick. Look at these two
Kolick.
offensive players playing on the D-line, and this is why.
Peter's out there as well.
Uh-oh. Player down? No.
Kolick getting it back to Peters. Boston trying to push them back. Zid having a tough time keeping up with Kolick. And Pryle with some room finds Kolick. Not in yet. Kolick swings it around. Oh, good attempt there by Taylor. He can't get it. Kolick trying to leap. And, all alone in the back of the end zone.
The crowd loves it. Kolick showing off right now
Ryan.
with his skills. He's dancing and prancing out there, and he puts that lefty to the back of the end zone for the goal to Eddie Peters.
Eddie Peters has had quite the nice night. 1:20 left to go, and Boston trails by 1. Take another look at this one. Starts with a D.
Oh, what timing. Way to scoop down for that. You know, I asked Moldenhauer at this game, I was like, Duke, I don't know. I played with him up in New York. The guy's in his mid-30s. He's like, yeah, but he can still get a D block. And he did right there, right when his team needed it. Well, DC's got all the advantage in the world now. All they have to do is hold, hold, hold. Elemental Technologies is why you're watching this live stream. They are one of the main reasons. They're the leading supplier of video solutions for multi-screen content delivery, providing unmatched solutions for more than 250 leading media franchises worldwide. Follow Elemental Tech on Twitter.
Well, Boston's going to get their chance again here. Brescher out there again with the O-line in control right now.
Could this be the end of Boston's dominance?
Well, it was predicted that I wouldn't do it again this season. Boston playing shorthanded again tonight, but that didn't seem to affect them. Danny Clark with a nice cut. About 45-yard line. Boston's own. Simmons in there.
55 seconds left on the clock. They have to score.
Marquette faking a deep throw. Get
Oh,
it.
big
And that big D right there.
No call.
Oh, they're going to call a foul.
The near judge makes the call. The back judge did not. The feet got tangled up. Minor tangled up.
Minor and Simmons. Simmons out there with the O-line. With the benefit of the call. That's Montgomery Butler. Again, Boston, a lot of D-line players out there right now. Maybe just in case of a turn. Brescher makes a cut and makes a catch. What a grab and a catch.
Okay, folks, it's coming down to this. It's a tie game. There's 29 seconds left
Jeff
on the
Graham.
clock. Fantastic play from Boston here. They work it up. They get the call down here. That was a good call. The feet got tangled up. And Brescher is able to toe the line. That's clearly in. Nice job by Henry Brescher to tie this game at 17-all. They will not go away.
What a awkward catch, but a nice move by Graham, too. I know we've talked about him a lot, but caught it on a layout, but really had to spin around and make sure his feet were in the end zone.
Well, let's talk about your universe line here.
Yeah, it's true.
You got 29 seconds to win the game. Otherwise, you go to overtime. Do you want to go to overtime or do you want to win? I'd prefer winning the game. So let's see who they got out there for DC. I see Tom Doyle. I see Alan Kolick. I'm assuming Peter Pryle's out there. Yes, he's bent over right now.
Boston will put out Taylor, Hirschberger, Farnsworth, Christian Foster, Malachek and Graham out there in case of a turn, and looks like Sean Doherty.
Schaffner's out there. Looks like Ong will pull it in.
Well, 25 seconds left to go in this one. DC in control. Here's Keegan. This would be the upset of the season so far. Here's Ong. Still time.
Not a lot, though.
12
Move
seconds.
faster than this.
Keegan
play.
making the catch. Farnsworth giving him some space.
Okay, this is it. 6 seconds.
You're going to have to put it now. There it is. Can Boston get over for the D? Oh. And they can't get Jessen up in the way as time expires. And we will head to overtime.
The crowd is stunned. There's some calls out here. There's a stoppage.
We do have a call.
We have a stoppage right now. There's a foul call.
Foul back on the
referee
throw.
has a foul on the throw.
Take another look.
Oh, yes, he did go into his body. That's
get
a good
around.
call. That's a good D out there, but that's a great call by the referee. They should put 10 seconds back on. They did. 10 seconds back on the clock. He got into the body of
Malachek.
Now they got.
So here's Pryle. DC with a second chance. Farnsworth is not giving Pryle. He goes with a hammer. It's going to be a crash here. And who's going to come up with it? And Wheeling it in with a catch. DC wins!
They've done it.
DC has upset Boston. Ong with the game-winning catch.
They've done it. Calvin Ong goes up and collects
Calvin
it again.
Ong.
The big hammer from Pryle at the end of the game. The Hail Mary is connected here on Easter weekend.
From who else but former Boston Whitecap Peter Pryle with the throw.
Can you
What
believe
a
it?
show we got tonight. Here's a replay.
I think Ong knew he had that the whole time. I don't know how. This thing's ridiculous.
High falling hammer. So many guys barreled up there. Looked like it had a tip on it, and Ong just reaches up.
Totally clean. Absolutely clean. What a way to end a game.
That was one of the, if not the most exciting game so far in the history of the MLU. In its brief history thus far.
Look at this setting sun here, the pink sky here at beautiful Washington, D.C. Calvin Ong. Well, I don't know. Do we have to pick a player of the game? I'm going to go with Calvin Ong.
You got to. Make that catch right there. He had a great game regardless, but to make that catch at that time. Well, you can credit Peter Pryle with the assist. He had a great night. Boston stunned here in Washington, D.C.
Well,
final score, Boston 17, the D.C. Current 18.
Hats off to Washington, D.C. for knocking off Boston. First team to do so, and they've got to be psyched.
So I believe we will call the player of the game. We're going to go with Calvin Ong.
I'm going with Calvin Ong.
Calvin Ong.
Who's going to tell me otherwise?
It's our decision, isn't it? So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back, get a little talk with Calvin Ong on the field with Nick Darling. Don't go anywhere, though. Still more to come here in D.C. Welcome back to Cardinal Stadium. Final score again. Boston 17, DC 18, shocking the world and finally giving the Whitecaps their first loss here in the history of the MLU. We're going to send it down to our own Nick Darling, who has our MVP, or player of the game, Calvin Ong, with a beautiful final.
All right, I'm down here on the field with our player of the game, Calvin Ong. Calvin, what a win tonight. Take me through the last play, because what happened there? That was ridiculous.
So we had about like 30 seconds left on offense, and we just said to the coach just came out and said to us, to our offense, just keep our stacks short, give ourselves a chance to make a play to end the game. It really wasn't the way we wanted to go down, but hey, we got the win.
You take a win when you can get it, right? And so what was the game plan coming in today, and how did you guys execute it? How did you get this win out on the hole?
Well, I mean, I feel like the pressure was on Boston. They're the team that's undefeated. They're the ones who, everyone's aiming for every week. So I think we just came in here, really no pressure on us. Just stick to what we've been preaching since the beginning of the season, really. Just tight defense, tight man defense, good marks, and then our offense, just rely on our athletes to make plays. And, we just made one more play than they did tonight.
Well, congratulations, nice win. You have some people waiting to sign some autographs. You better get over there and do that. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much, Nick.
Back up to you guys.
All right. Thanks, Nick. That was a heck of a catch, heck of a game.
That was an amazing play. Absolutely amazing. he just roofs everybody. He stands there. It's like he knew it was coming. Ong is in the end zone there and just waits for it. He's got a tall defender on him, and he just roofs him.
Well, Pryle really just had to put it up. He didn't really know who to throw it to. Just kind of put it up in the air like that, expect and hope for the best. And Calvin Ong with a catch of the day. Yeah, I guess so. But
some of the highlights
highlights of the game.
So last year, similar situation there. Foul led to a late-minute huck that was not completed. And this year, DC able to capitalize. Far there to Grabowski, the new dad. Fleming here, one of his Ds, amazing play. That's his third D on Danny Clark. I don't think you'd ever see that.
That was a big point in this game, was the ability to shut down some of Boston's deep cutters. Clark being one of them. Clark, usually a guy that comes out and scores a lot.
That was a key play right there.
Yep.
That was late game, Peter Pryle getting it back. Also, Miner picking up the trash is huge there. Fleming tries to get a fourth D of the game, but Graham down with it. It's a beautiful huck there.
That was Wodach. That was another big one for DC that started to key their comeback.
Gordon to Gordon? Is that what that
was?
was?
That was Marshall.
Gordon to Marshall.
Marshall, yeah.
Duke with
and
the block.
This is the way it ends right here.
Watch this one.
Yeah.
Ong.
You're not going to see something.
Raising the roof.
You're not going to see much better than that.
I'll take that. And I'll take it with me.
Your player of the game, Calvin Ong, and DC. You got big congratulations to them knocking off Boston, previously undefeated. So Boston will fall to 1-1. DC now perfect 2-0 and now in sole possession of first place in the Eastern Conference. These two teams will get a chance to see each other again next week.
Next week, right?
Right.
Wow.
Up at Boston, they're going to be hungry with hopefully a little bit more of their D-line back intact. But, I mean, I'm not saying that as an excuse for Boston, but
well, we just
we'll
want to
see.
thank you for
watching.
One. Hope you enjoyed the game. It was as fantastic as they get. Tune in next week for Philadelphia. New York at Philadelphia.
That's the live stream. DC will be at Boston, of course. We'll record that one and have it for you probably by Monday. Vancouver will be at Seattle and Portland at San Francisco. But that is going to do it here for all of us. On behalf of the MLU crew, Tony Leonardo, Nick Darling, I'm Jeff Poster. Again, final score, Boston 17, DC 18. Thanks for watching, and have a good night. We'll see you next time.